the high of 58. For KTUI, I'm meteorologist Jim Rinaldi.
KTUI time is 10:05, and the current temperature is 29 degrees.
I'm Sam Scott for KTUI.
Hey, good morning and welcome back. Here we are live at the White Mule Winery on the high plains of Gascoyne County. What a beautiful sky we have today. A few little clouds whispering back to the east, but blue, 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 and 33 degrees, which is kind of a heat wave this week. We've had one of those, I guess, typical winter weeks in Missouri where you have, we're supposed to have just about everything by the end of the week here. We had some ice and a little bit of snow and some pretty chilly weather, dropping down here to, single digits or less. And, it's all good now, 33. And I don't know if the spring thaw is on its way, but today we should have the best predictor of the weather forecast because it's Groundhog Day. And since it's Groundhog Day, and I've never figured out the actual logic of Groundhog Day in regard to the groundhog seeing his shadow or not seeing his shadow, but apparently he's seen his shadow this morning, so that means 6 more weeks of winter weather. So, I mean, to me, if it was cloudy out, Grace, right, and he didn't see his shadow, wouldn't that mean that it's winter time and the sun is out there?
I would think so. Joey Gross told me.
Who said?
Joey Gross.
Okay.
At Dutch Mill this morning.
Well, oh my God.
He explained it to me that the groundhog goes up and sees its shadow, it gets scared and goes back in its hole. But if he goes up and doesn't see his shadow, he still goes down because it's cold outside. So either way, we have 6 more weeks of winter.
Well, that's out of page 1.
That's Dutch
out
Mill.
Of the Dutch Mill Bible.
Yep.
So
It's got to be true if it came from Joey.
That has to be totally just the way it is.
Yeah.
And well, anyway, it is what it is, and we'll have what we have. But we're glad to have you today along with us on KTUI 1560 AM, 94.1 FM, or possibly you're watching on Facebook Live because, some of my favorite subjects and people are here today that we're going to talk about education and Dr. Sean Strong, who is the president and the CEO and the one in charge of Lynn State Tech. I guess it just goes by State Tech anymore. Yep. We like to put Lynn on it for local.
I didn't have to correct you this time.
Because you're bigger than that. Although, we are tremendously glad we're here. And I'm always glad to see the mayor of Rosebud. And you travel in good company,
I try.
Because, she does a great job for this. I think Rosebud might be the entrepreneur capital of the world. It was the clay capital, and maybe it still is the clay capital.
It's still clay, yeah.
But if you think, and we've talked about this, Shannon, several times, but if you just draw a map, and look 4 or 5 miles around Rosebud, you think of the entrepreneurs that are there. It is amazing. Mm-hmm. Just the economy and what we got. And those are skills, Dr. Strong, that you add to, and there's a lot of heating and cooling, people out here that make their living in that, mechanics, a lot of dirt movers, carpenters. There was a time that, half of my friends were carpenters, because that was a good trade, and, a lot of those are retired, but these are all people that work for themselves for the most part out here.
Sure.
A carpenter have 2 or 3 people maybe working with them, sometimes not. But these are people that do it on their own and have a skill set that adds tremendous value, to our community and add great value, for the people that they do work for. So, this is your alley. This is, the big separation And I think, Doctor, that it's coming at the most appropriate time, because I think people are recognizing, if you go back and look at a little of the history of education, that we tried to put in an education system, elongated, in my opinion, that tried to teach everybody everything, and we've got to the point, technically, where that's impossible, because there's so much detail. I can't even use my phone very well, but or any of the technology. But we've come to that point where it's impossible to be a master of those things, or everything. So, we're looking at training people for the trades like what we mentioned, and the big picture is, I think everybody's getting it, aren't they? On a global, I don't know on a global basis, but certainly in America.
Here in the States, yeah, there's no doubt about it. The pendulum is definitely, as you said, swung one way, and now it's swinging back the other way, and it'll probably land somewhere in the middle, but we're definitely on the right side of it now. We're growing incredibly fast. Fastest growing, once again this year, fastest growing college or university in the state.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
Yeah, it's a good time to be where we're at.
Yeah, and I was looking at some of the numbers, and some of the numbers I looked at, but you guys have went from like 1,000 to 2,000 in a very short period of time.
Yeah, when I started 7 years ago, we were at 1256, if you want to be precise, and I think we're at 2174 this fall. So it's not too fast a growth, but it's just the right amount. I think it's an average of about 8.7% every year for the last 5, 6, 7 years. So we're right where we want to be.
For a business, that'd be awesome.
Which I
You are a business.
I do consider ourselves a business.
You are a business.
Which I would say that, and I tell that to a lot of folks, that we run State Tech more like a business. We'd run it like a business. I wouldn't say more like a business than anyone else, or more like a business than we should. I mean, it's definitely a business, and we look at financials, and the reason we're growing is everybody knows we've got to have full classes to make ends meet, because everything we do is very, very expensive. So I think that's the key to what we do, is everybody's on the same page, and we know, and not only, and it works both ways, not only do we know we need full classes to I wouldn't say make money, break even, but we know our mission, which is to provide Missouri's workforce. So we know to fulfill our mission, we need full classes, and we've got a workforce problem in the state of Missouri. There's no doubt about it.
Yes, the list continues to grow, even in the economy here that, a lot of people are uncertain about. The labor is hard to come by, in especially the rural areas, and a lot of the skills that you're mentoring there, those are skills that's absolutely needed, without a doubt. So, that's all phenomenal. But you talked about running it as a business, Doctor, and that just from the time that I was in office, I had the opportunity to work a lot across the board with in economic development with universities and those things. It not necessarily the mindset to run education as a business, but because it's a different thing, and I get it. You know what I'm saying? I do get a lot of the ideas of it, but when you're employing 250 people, and I seen your ratio or something like 12-to-1 or something like that, when you employ that many people, and you've got to be held accountable for not only your board, but a lot of your money and grants come from the state of Missouri. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be scrutinized when you go up there to some degree about what your budget is and where you are, and it's good that you have a handle on those things and approach it in that kind of a sense, because there's only so much value that we can get out of any utility. And that's across the board, I mean, there's just there's a limit, to what we can afford to invest in. You understand, Grace?
I do.
There's always a limit to that. So, well, you know, we talked about you know, a little bit the entrepreneurs, but you do teach that background too, because I talk to my boys that are here. You know what I'm saying, and even on the sub level, you know, that they're learning, they realize when I talk with them how important the economic situation is. You know, with the kids that are you know, that are doing electric, you know, mechanics or whatever, they know that time is money. And that's one of the things that I was surprised about.
Yeah.
There is some competition, you know what I'm saying, amongst the students there that you have set up to some degree to make sure that they're proficient in meeting an industry standard that is affordable. That's awesome.
Yeah, no doubt about it. You know, our students, not only, I mean, we've got business programs as well, but then they're also going to, I mean, the employers still ask for what's their number one thing they're looking for. They're looking for, call them essential skills, call them soft skills, call them whatever you want, the oral written communication, the math skills, the critical thinking skills. And so, no, we are very intentional about making sure that we're known as the employer's choice, and that's kind of our tagline, and those are some of the things that go into it. Granted, the technical is still our core mission. Is what we do better than anybody, but we also know that graduates need to see some of these other things as well. You can go out and do a 6-week training course and be trained for a job, but I think we do a better job of educating people for careers by having them for 2 years and giving them that breadth and teaching them the business side of whatever
Exactly.
discipline they're into, but also some of those other skills as well.
But you know, anybody can probably look and work with a skill set, you know, from a young person, and realize that, you know, there are people that enjoy working, you know what I'm saying, and doing this repetition thing time and time again. But there is also a lot of people that are a lot of kids that are qualified and will approach entrepreneurship, starting their own business and do whatever out of these, you know, particular skills that they're learning, and that's huge.
Oh yeah, no doubt. We've actually, I think it just came to our board, so it still has to go to the coordinating board, but we just started a 15, but they don't necessarily have the education for it. In a short amount of time, while they're going to school, they can be ready to do that at some point down the road.
Exactly, and you know, at least you know, their approach, you know, they have enough toes in the water there, you know what I'm saying, and they understand. If there's a desire that they want to be on their own, that they know where the skills to get the rest of the skills that they need to do that, or you know, they may have them ready.
If they don't want to be on their own, it's a great, you know, we have our Career Expo next week on Wednesday, and we have 300 companies coming.
My
and
God!
We have 50 on a wait list. And
next Wednesday?
On Wednesday. So, I mean, we're absolutely full, obviously, but that is
300 companies?
300 companies recruiting. And they're not recruiting one student. They're recruiting multiples. They need them all. And so it's incredible. And we had two companies that canceled yesterday morning, and within 20 minutes, Scott, our career services coordinator, had the two on the wait list. He called them and they said, absolutely, we're in. Like, even though it's only a week away, they're like, yes. They're so happy that they got moved from the wait list. So it's unbelievable. So, you know, there's so much demand. So we can talk about the economy and where it's going or not. But when they talk about the labor market being tight,
it's obvious. Now, are these just for the students that are currently there, or are they for applying students
no,
also?
this is just for students that are currently there, or
Okay.
alumni. If we have alums that
Okay.
want to participate, they can come back and participate. But it's companies that are looking for both interns for this summer or for graduates to hire them. And they actually can interview on the spot. So we'll have companies that'll interview and offer positions of pending graduation or for the summer for internships.
I can give you a little insight on just what I read, recently in regard to why they're there, or one of the reasons is their retention rate.
Right.
For your students, it's somewhere between 75 and
Yep.
80% retention. That's unheard of.
It is unheard of.
I don't get to work 80%.
Well, and I think that Dr. Strong will tell you that's part of his vision too for the college, is to make it a 4-year experience in a 2-year college, and that plays into that retention rate.
It does. We do a great job of engaging students, and we've got a big picture for that too, a long-term plan for that. How do we get a student from St. Louis or Kansas City to campus? But then how do we engage them once they're there? We know in the first 2 weeks of class that they're going to make a decision whether or not they're going to stick around. I mean, like all of us, you decided if you liked me within 2 minutes of meeting me. It's first impressions, and students are the same way. They come to campus, and those first 2 weeks they decide if they're going to stick around. So we do all sorts of fun, engaging things for them in the first 2 weeks. But then bigger picture is we've got a pretty big project going on there. Well, we've got a lot of projects going on.
I read the paper.
We've got a lot going on right now. But that
The UD,
yes,
which is in affiliation with
The
the
Republican,
Republican, every week, and I start getting when we talked, when we met, because I and I don't read it covered, I read quite a bit of it, but anyway, it's amazing. Every week there's something new and different and challenging, for people going on, but that keeps everybody informed of where you are, and that's the key out here, right? You know what I'm saying? As long as you don't throw the locals too much of a curve, you're going to be sitting very well with them as long as they know. But talk about some of your projects. I know the out at the golf course is a huge one, right?
the country club is a huge project for us. We finished the driving range, 3-4 months ago probably. So if you haven't been out there, you need to, even if you're not about golf, it's Topgolf software. It's just like playing Topgolf. We've got the software, you can watch the balls and play the games, and we've got a bar there, and again, it's tied to our commercial turf and grounds building. So our turf and grounds program's right there. So we've got students there. We've got a relationship with Toro. They're seeing all the great things we're doing.
Really?
So
Yep.
Toro, we've got all this fancy
Toro
equipment there. But Toro sees what we're doing, and in the golf world, I don't think
There isn't
there's not very many people doing
what we're doing.
what we're attempting. So that's part of it, is that driving range. But the other part is this 30,000 square foot clubhouse replacement that is all about entertaining, engaging students in Lynn, Missouri. Because frankly, there's not a lot to do in Lynn, but there will be when we get done. We'll have bowling, a theater, esports room, a pool, an event
Simulators.
center, golf simulators. We'll have something for everybody when it's all done.
That is, it's an awesome vision. You know what I'm saying? Because, I don't recognize that there's not much to do at Lynn.
You're not the right age demographic. I'm just saying, you might not be the age we're worried about right now.
A few, BJ's are, a few of those places are, well, whatever. But it is, and I drove past there. I went out and seen that,
Okay.
and was impressed. I ain't been there for several months, I'm sure, but it is a great vision. It's a great strategy in order to involve those people, and if you're all in, okay, on grass management, and you're a golfer, what else could you want?
Right.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? If that's what you want to do,
Right.
you are going to be elevated, to some degree. But it's not only about golf. Your teams are all over the country, are they not? In regard to managing grass and
Sure.
and You do anything for Kansas City, or I don't know if you do or not.
I think we've got. I
Yeah.
think
You
we'll
got-
have a student with a
With the Chiefs,
second
yeah.
Super Bowl ring, hopefully in a couple
Hopefully,
weeks.
yeah, hopefully.
Yeah. So we've got
That would
one.
be exciting, yeah.
But hopefully we have a
Yeah.
second.
That would
We
be.
usually have someone there. The Cardinals, the Royals.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
Cubs, the Red Sox. And then, of course,
And
golf
all the golf
courses.
courses.
Golf courses all across the U.S. My sister this morning told me one of her former students is in the Turf and Grounds program, and he's going to Kentucky this summer for his internship. And she was really excited because he was a student that kind of struggled in school, and she
Right.
was like, he found his place. And
That's-
she was really excited, and that made me feel really good.
That's what it's all about,
It is
ain't
what
it?
it's
You
all
know what I'm
about,
saying?
you know?
If you can hit that first rung and help somebody
Yeah.
hit that first rung, it's
is.
what we do.
It is. It made me, it just kind of go, I went, yes, that's exactly. You find your niche, and we
Yeah.
provide the opportunity there, and that's
Well,
what it's about.
You would think that in today's market that everything would be, about AstroTurf, but it's not. I've seen several playoff games that appeared to me, you know what I'm saying, to be real grass, and that takes, especially in some of these colder climates, that takes unbelievable knowledge and skills to be able to, offer that, because I know just by listening that natural grass plays differently,
Yes. Yes.
than
Sure.
turf, and most of the good athletes really some of them only
Grass.
grew up on that, but
Yeah.
if you give them a choice, they're going to take the turf
They do.
because it's less dangerous also, and it's just amazing to me what they do by putting water underneath it and keeping that temperature, you know what I'm saying, and if you go to Green, I don't even know what Green Bay is, but I know Buffalo or whatever, you definitely have to have some hot water underneath it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So that's good. So when you talk about the skills that you're teaching, and that's only one program. You've got how many different programs?
We're pushing 40, I think.
Yeah.
We used to say 30, 34,
34.
but now I think we're pushing 40. We added civil construction technology last year. We have a new facility operations and management
Civil
program.
construction, okay,
Yep. So that's
right,
roads, bridges, that type
exactly,
of thing.
and good timing on that, by the
Right.
way. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
we're
Heavily
supposed to have some
recruited.
infrastructure money
Yeah.
coming in.
Mhm. Oh no, and that'd be the other big thing. I mean, we've got facility operations management course. It's going to be great. Operating buildings, plumbing, some HVAC. Maintenance techs
Yeah.
are probably one of the number one
Number
thing
one.
that employers are looking for. So this is going to be preparing maintenance technicians. But when you talk about the federal money, we're having a great period right now. I mean, we've got $40 million of so people will say, well, all you're doing is building country clubs and driving ranges. That's one portion. We've got $40 million worth of academic buildings under construction right now.
Wow.
Yeah, it's about 90,000 square foot of new buildings and renovating a lot of our oldest buildings as well. So,
Who's your construction manager? I mean,
So we just hired one.
did you
right?
hire one? I mean, I don't
Yeah,
mean
no,
who. I was figuring Shannon would.
No. I can make one up.
That's a team effort. I spend.
Oh my God, it has
I go
to
to
be.
jobs tours every day.
He does.
I'm way too far deep because I love it. I love the construction.
You love that part
I
of
love
it? Oh, yeah.
construction, so
He
I'm
does.
way too deep into it. But Brad Creedy is our facility manager. Professional contractors and engineers out of Columbia is our
Consulting.
yeah, and then Inside Design Services out of St. Louis and Kansas City are our architect. So it takes a team.
But I get the joy of building and seeing, because that's that don't happen. You appreciate the utility that you're helping provide for the kids, and you get that accomplishment off of their accomplishment.
Sure.
But gratification short term for a lot of us people
Build
putting nails in something, you know what I'm saying, or pouring concrete.
Sure.
You know, it's what it's about, because that's, you know, it's permanent and it shows progression.
Yeah, probably my favorite project right now, and we're
Here we
just
go.
wrapping it up,
Here we
is
go.
we're building a lake at State Tech.
Oh God,
And so we've
how big?
about 8 acres. It's
That's
not
huge.
Yeah, it'll be.
I
a
mean,
nice
that's
little
good
lake.
size,
Yeah,
eh?
it's big enough to the
Go
students will have a
fishing.
good time. You mentioned clay pits. We ran into a clay pit, so I said let's see how far we can dig this thing out. And so we dug out the clay pit. It's got this big rock wall and white sandy beaches. It's
We've trucked in how many truckloads of sand?
it's 1,000 ton, I believe,
Wow.
of sand from the
So
lake.
we really do have a beach now. So if somebody says, "Where's the beach?"
Well,
We've got one. I mean, you know, we've got it all. I mean, I joke that we have everything from A to Z. We have a flight school now operating at State Tech.
a flight school?
It's not, we're not affiliated with them, but they're operating at our
I think
airport.
they're called Osage Flyers or Osage Flying.
Do you have simulators in there, or
So
do you
I don't know what all, I
No,
don't
they're-
think so. I think
you just jump in the
they
plane and
jump
go.
in.
Yeah.
Again,
I'm not riding with you guys. I mean, I appreciate.
I'm not right with you. I am dreading the day that Dr. Strong comes in and says, "I went to flight school and I got my pilot's license.
Let's go.
We're gonna start flying to places." I'm gonna be like, "That's it. I'm out. I'm out." This little twin seater, I'll be like, "No."
Yeah.
The reason I asked that is that Bug-Eye at Union, you know, started by a guy at Owensville, actually, that worked for Boeing for years. They build flight simulators there.
Oh, okay.
And there's a great team. They have their Christmas party here, you know, but, you know, a lot of them come, you know, more than that. But it's phenomenal what they do. These
yes.
these
It's
things and the skill
realistic.
set that they need, the absolute simulators that sit there, and you know, they go globally to, you know, get things
I
done.
think pilots have to do so much simulator time.
Yeah. I mean, it's
get
all
their
there,
license.
you know, and it'd be.
But not at State Tech. We just throw you in the plane.
We're not hands on.
That's right.
We're so hands-on. We got you.
Well, you know, you got such qualified students.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't.
They'll figure it out.
Yeah. They probably played some video game that showed them how to fly, right?
Well,
They're good.
I understand what he's saying, hands-on, you know, but it's a cool deal, you know
Yeah,
what I'm
no.
saying, to have these. Now, they're probably F-15s, which
Probably.
you probably don't do there, I don't know, you know.
You're going to be in Cessnas, I believe.
Exactly.
Probably Cessna 172s. Yeah.
Yeah, and anyway, but
Yeah, so
wow.
we'll have the lake, and it's
Where's the lake at?
It is.
at the,
It's on the. They call
Eastern.
on the farm, but on the eastern
Side.
side of campus, and it's kind of back.
Over the hill,
Yeah, so we
over
can't
where
really,
the airport is.
You can now, yes, on
East of
this
that.
towards Highway 50. If you're driving down Highway 50, if you look to the right, you can actually see a mountain of dirt
Okay.
that our students, the students built the dam and the lake, but you can see a mountain of dirt where they pulled it out of the lake, and well, you can always use dirt.
Always. Do you ever get on those caterpillars and mess with them?
On occasion.
he's been known to do some things. We try to keep him off of it. We don't want those trees there anymore.
Yeah.
You know, I have a skid steer, you know, and
Sure.
love it. And I've decided to rent one of those, you know, caterpillars this summer to clean out some stuff.
There you go.
I don't, you know.
Get you a high lift.
Yeah, well, I might need some students.
Well,
Give me some of those that don't fly the plane,
we can send one over.
you know,
We'll get you
to
an
help.
intern. We'll get
Well, my
you.
nephew, you know, very qualified, and there's a
Yep.
lot of people in the heavy equipment, and what a need, you know, I mean, what a global need that we have there, and, you know, these things are so sophisticated anymore with all the GPS and all of this stuff.
Yeah, it's incredible.
I mean, it's beyond me, because I have trouble using the car GPS when I get, you know what I'm saying? Karen usually puts the destination, and I can follow the the arrows sometimes, but, you know, it's awesome. So, other areas that you're teaching proficiency in are what? You know, I mean, we talked about aviation. You know, we talked about course management, turf, all the other skills, mechanic, farm, our tractors, you know what I'm saying,
So we have
mechanics.
diesel mechanics, and we also have a new agriculture degree that actually should be going to
Yep.
the coordinating
This is
board
gonna
in
be
time
exciting.
for approval. So we're really doubling down on ag. We look at that.
And
as
you
a
know,
major growth area.
that I really like that.
Oh, I
You
do.
know what
Yes,
I'm saying?
I do.
You know that we're passionate about that, and I applaud you because you're going to hit a home run with that. There is no question in my mind, if you look at the transfer of wealth and knowledge, look at the cattle business, because that's what Missouri's,
Sure.
that's
Absolutely.
2 million cows in the state of Missouri. And you look at the average ownership of that, which is in the mid-60s, of those, who's going to be there? And who's going to have the skill set to be able to do that? Much less where are they going to get the money from? Because the land, that is
Yeah.
appreciated and so much. But these kids have got their work cut out for them if we want to continue, and we do. Like with the beef, enterprise, and I don't know how you change that overnight. Look at the hamburger business. You know what I'm saying? Look at the restaurant business. Where in the world would you go if you didn't have beef, to feature added value on a night? Nothing wrong with pork or chicken, at all. And the vegans, I don't know. I mean, you just can't go to somewhere and have a bottle of wine and a salad.
No, you
It's just
cannot.
not going to satisfy,
gonna
white
satisfy
German
us.
boys
Nope.
like me. No matter what the cause, right?
Yep, I totally agree.
So, it is going to be there, and that's not only, that's not only the cattle business, but across the board. The cattle business is so unique, though, in my opinion, because it's one of those things that takes so many acres, it takes so much land, to do that big companies can't consolidate at least the cow-calf operation.
Sure.
It's in home, it's in ownership
You can
by
put them on
many,
feedlots
many.
where you can't
There
do
is
that.
no
Yeah.
way
Nope.
that the companies can, and beside that, every cow man thinks he's got all the answers, you know what I'm saying, on the breed and
Sure.
grass management, but my hat's off to you. And you got a restaurant there that you be able to serve
We will.
those.
Yeah, you're the model for it, so
So-
that may be something
So-
we'll look into.
We were able to get a $2 million grant from the Department of Agriculture. That was announced in December, right?
I think so, yes.
December. So that has a match on it. We have to match it. But right now, I think we're expanding the ag program and using that to
The first phase
facilitate.
will be to buy a farm close to Kansas.
Yes, I seen that, and that's absolutely awesome. Going to cost you more than it used to,
Yeah.
which is good. Unless you get some philanthropists out there, you know what I'm saying? That,
We haven't found one yet, but
Calling all philanthropists. You want to have, do a good deed.
but we are. What's interesting about that? If we find the right person, our goal is to not to go in there and sweep in and take over your farm and
No.
tell you to leave. It's, hey, we want to buy
Lease
your
it,
farm.
do whatever,
You
yeah.
run it for the next 5-10 years until you retire, and then we'll gradually take it over. So we'll give you X money today. We'll lease it back to you for next to nothing, and
that'll help greatly with the transition because
Absolutely.
you can hold that knowledge, you can hold those institutional ideas that are there, and then you don't have if they're cow-calf or doing a little crop or whatever, you've got a start up there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And you don't have to wait and buy, everything to start off with. You'll have some cash.
Absolutely. Yeah.
The only other school that I that I know very much about is none of them, but the School of the Ozarks does a good job. And I never knew this until I was there this summer, you know, and some of the restaurants, and you know,
Sure. They raise their own.
They raise their own.
absolutely they raise their own, but the local
student.
businessmen also help pay their tuition.
Yeah.
They guarantee, or you know, if you go there, of course, Branson, you know, has got a lot of more opportunity, maybe than Rose, but not. I don't know if they got any more opportunity.
We need Silver Dollar City.
Well, you know, you look at that though. In all honesty, that model has changed a phenomenal lot in the past 10 years.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they're still attracting a whole lot of people, but it's not the marketplace has changed there.
Yeah.
You know, in regard to how they do it. Golf is now one of the big reasons
Yeah.
why people go to Branson.
And their Top of the Rock golf
Yes.
course, their manager,
The
the
superintendent,
there is a grad of State Tech.
Really.
So, I mean, that right there is kind of exactly what we do.
So we were going to Branson, and Gracie happened to be riding. We were having a family outing, you know, that we bought at Christmas, right across from Top of the Rock. It was a house that our whole family could get into
Yeah.
and whatever. And we were going down there, and I said, "Well, where do you want to eat?" You know, that was and Gracie and me and Mom, was that it?
And Ben.
And
so,
Ben.
Yeah.
And Gracie was looking through it. She said, "Well, I would like to go. What's the bar in the bottom?
I don't remember.
At the Top of the Rock." She said, "I'd like to go down there. They've got a
Yeah.
place to go." And when we got there, she said, "I'd like to eat upstairs." I said, "Oh, well, okay. I mean, whatever. You know, I knew, but you know, once in a while, you just got to do whatever." So we did. You know,
She's like,
and
I'm
then-
not paying. Dad, you're paying.
and I was looking at the wine next to us, you know, on the table, and I looked down, and they had 3 bottles sitting there. They were $400 a bottle. So we didn't have that time.
We had water.
Did you bring in some mule and just like, here you go. Sneaking it in.
It's all about the experience.
I mean,
right?
that was happened to be, but it is very expensive, but you know, it was all worth it
Yeah.
because it's
It's
a
an
class
experience.
place, and
Yeah.
then you watch them, you know, the events that they put on at sundown,
Yeah.
you know, with playing them.
Yep. It's all about the experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good choice, Grace.
You know,
We got another vacation this year too. We're going to the lake this year.
we're going.
I gotta start looking at my restaurants.
I can tell you they're expensive ones.
We're staying on the Red Oak property. Let me.
You're staying at the campground.
We're staying at the camp. Well, they got houses,
houses,
too.
yeah.
You know, the Reinholds
Yeah.
own
Yep.
that
Sure.
also.
Got some nice cabins over there.
Yeah. So we're not leaving there.
We'll see
you know.
that. Oh no, that'll give you more money to go out. Very perfect. Not spending on a big house. Should be good.
Okay, well, we got off a track there, but it's all part of it. There's no question about it all. But congratulations on that, and it will be a success. And if you will find an awful lot of farm fraternity, you know, or institutions that will totally support what you're doing, you know, because we now have a new beef processing plant coming to Warrenton.
Yeah.
A big one.
That is 2,400 a day, which is going to change, in my opinion, you know, the whole cattle business in the state of Missouri. If only from the cow standpoint, because they're gonna kill old cows too, or slaughter, I guess.
Sure.
Old cows, and if you don't have to truck them 1,000 miles, the extra value that we're going to get
Right.
out of this beef, and the better it's going to be for everybody, then you know, it's going to be a great opportunity, and part of their business is going to be that, and then it's going to create a lot of opportunity to finish out cattle in the state of Missouri, which we have all the other resources, with the exception of labor. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To do that. So that's all good, and you're on the ground floor with that, because it takes a while, you know.
It does.
And so, what else you guys got going on? Let's talk about the building situation, because we highlighted some of those.
Sure.
But you got $40 million in, you know, that you're investing in other buildings for different programs.
Sure. So we are just finishing up. Oh, it was 6, 7, 8 years ago, even before I came, we looked at broadband as being an area we were going to go big into. So all of our utility programs we've grown. So we're just finishing up Phase B of the utility building. So as you're going down Highway 50 to Lynn and you look off and see that big gray and blue building, that's our new utility building. So that'll be done here about the first week of May. It's a little behind, but and then next to that we'll have something called Safety Village. We've got I guess I don't include this in the 40 million, but we've got what, 2 million for Safety Village.
Yes.
So another 2 million of ARPA money for Safety Village, which will be 6 houses with all the underground utilities. So it's all about excavating around utilities. We'll have fiber and gas and water. So this will be unlike anything in the U.S. that we found. So we've got that going on.
So you definitely call Dig Right if you want to.
So
We
we did start with a partnership with Missouri One Call. I
Okay.
mean, really, this grew out of
our
their
relationship
need
there.
to have their even contractors a place for them to go to hone their skills. To make sure, because their biggest expense is when they hit lines. Obviously, I mean it's a huge expense. So, and he's downplaying this now, but these houses are also going to be framed on the inside so our electrical students can run wiring. HVAC students can hook up HVAC systems. So it'll be like a lab within a lab. And then they'll tear it out every year and start over. And then we joke that they're going to have, some of them it's over by the lake. And the one house, he's like, oh, could have a walkout basement. I go, this thing's going to be like on Airbnb before we know it, right?
Wow.
We're going to start renting
Yes.
these. So your next vacation, Grace, might be at State
Still in.
Tech. Might be on the campus. I mean,
There's
there's
a
6
beach.
houses.
There's a beach right there. There you
6
go.
houses. You got a beach.
Perfect.
I mean, your whole family could have their own little house. Look how perfect this would be, right?
I know, Shannon, but I can hear the cows bawling from there. It's a little too close. A little too close to home. Oh,
No, it is going to be. I mean, it is going to be a one of a kind.
will
And
be.
that piece. And actually, Missouri One Call's coming out this afternoon because we're going to chat with them, just
I
show
would
them
ju-
where we're at with that.
I was just told yesterday that there's an entrepreneur in Westphalia that is starting a housing business, okay, that is using a printer,
Printed
a printed house.
Uh-huh.
What do they call that?
3D printing.
3D printing, and I guess he purchased this or going to, where he is,
Yeah.
gonna
Oh, yeah.
pour this with
Yeah.
some kind of concrete.
Yep.
I mean, when I used to think of 3D printing, I thought, well, making a little model and not actual application of that.
Yeah.
But this technology must have moved to a whole new realm because they're going to be using this, for building, and it's interesting to me because that will be. I mean, one of the things that we have in the housing business, which you have a tremendous shortage of, and everywhere else has got it also, is the cost and having a skill set to do it. But if you can get a 3D printer, to build a house, it's going to lessen an awful lot, I would think. And this guy was describing how they put the wires in it and everything, and it's all done. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. It'll be interesting to
Yeah,
see.
we might
it.
have to go see it.
Yeah, that's definitely right there on the. I'd call that not only cutting edge, bleeding edge type of stuff. So it'll
Yeah.
be interesting. To
I'll
see
let
how
you
that
know
works.
who that is. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? I don't want to,
Yeah.
but that's interesting to me.
Yeah. I
Good.
know in our precision machining, there's a lot of movement to 3D printing in the machining business, but what's holding it back is the cost of materials and the cost of it. So,
Exactly, because that's all new technology.
Uh-huh.
Also, they haven't. It's not a 6-bag mix.
Right.
Sure that they're using in there, and
So.
so many re-rods or whatever. But anyway,
okay. So safety
is-
you'll
village.
be there. I guarantee you that Lynn State or State Tech will be there
Yep.
on the future there. All of this, that might be in the footprint building, but an awful lot of this building is going to go in. I think what I'm saying,
Sure.
in
Yeah.
off-site.
Oh, and there's no doubt that pre-building everything in a factory setting. So much more economical than stick building everything on site. But yeah, we'll see more of that. When you mentioned precision machining, that's a program that will go into one of the new buildings. We're growing that. So we've got, of that 40 million, we've got about a 65,000 square foot building that our precision machining program will go into, our welding program, and then our automation, robotics, and our electronics programs will all move into that building. That'll open up some room for other programs to grow. And then the other building will be about a 30 or 40,000 square foot building for a lot of our building trades, electrical, HVAC, facility operations and management, and then we'll renovate the old Nildress building. So our biggest issue right now, I've got offices with 4 and 5 people in it. Everybody's on top of one another. We don't have classrooms. I've got students taking classes out in labs. So this is we've got really good problems. I mean, everybody else in higher ed wishes they had the problems we had. So
a lot of those are trying to find people to fill the rooms they've got.
Absolutely.
You know, and you know, that means the budget isn't the greatest either, which does nothing but increase the value. I mean, increase the cost. You know what I'm saying, of the education, which a lot of people are putting into question, and they should. You know, I mean, in my opinion, it should be somewhat scrutinized and headed in the direction that we're heading. So there's so much here, guys, and I just appreciate both of your leadership, you know, on these issues, because it's something that, you know, what I think lacks in a lot of the kids here that we go through is the desire to achieve and passion. Do you know, I mean, a lot of people have had a great opportunity to do it. But in all honesty, I see when they get in a field, you know, like such, and get around that contagious youth that sees opportunity, they're motivated, and they develop, you know, passion for those levels. That's awesome, you know. I mean, I don't know how they can get passion for that and not shoveling. Or, you know, the other details that we have to do here, but it is good, and it's so good that they have that surrounded by other people that have that in that particular kind of model, because that grows.
Yeah.
And you're never going to get that, folks, if you're even inkling about doing some kind of trade work and you're sitting in a classroom at the University of Missouri, you know, and you know, you're not going to get it. No. You know, just kind of how it is. And you know, my son, you know, went there, Gussie, and you know what his favorite thing was? When he went out and did construction, a bit, or whatever, you know, admit it, you know, like you do. Okay. Go around, and he had a professor or two that were building projects and managing. He loves that, and still does, you know. Sure. You know, like to build things. Yep. Okay, we're going to take a little break here, and Gracie's going to tell us. Wow, you ain't got a whole lot going on here this weekend. What's going on? She's going to tell us what's going on in our neck of the woods this weekend. But you don't have a whole stack of stuff there.
I do not. Maybe that means everybody will come to the St. James UCC Polar Bear Barbecue on Sunday.
Maybe that is correct.
This Sunday, February 5th, we'll be serving brats, pork steaks, coleslaw, potato salad, and baked beans. That is carry-out only, and I'm pretty biased about this barbecue. It's pretty good. So
I think we start here at the White Mule that morning at
6 o'clock.
Is that what time we're starting?
That's what I hear.
Well, I'll be here. You know, maybe not exactly at 6, but it'll be.
We'll see you at 9.
It'll be close. You know. Well, it's always and it's carry-out only.
Carry-out only.
Well, they could eat at the hall too if they want.
I think so, yeah.
But it's going to be in carry-out form, right?
Yes, start serving at noon, and then until 2 o'clock are sold out. So.
What I'm really glad about this is that some days we schedule this on the Road Bud Lutheran Sausage Supper.
Oh, yeah.
And you know,
Never want to compete with that.
Well, no, because I got to eat
I know,
4
the sausage, I
a
know.
day.
Lunch is
Because
the
I
best.
love that.
And that's enough food for like 5 people.
Well,
It's
you know,
crazy.
it's
give
such
you
a
a lot.
unique combination. Turkey
Turkey
and
sauerkraut
and sausage.
fried sausage, by the way, because they deep fry it. I know. Which, I mean, let's take something to make it more unhealthy, right? But I eat it because it's delicious.
And I'm not so sure of that because I mean it gets, I don't know. I think you fry the fat out of it.
Maybe. I'm down with that. I'll go with it.
I don't know.
I don't know, but it is really good. It
I
is
know. I
really
just
good.
went to the doctor. My cholesterol's never been better. Lipitor.
Just take an
It's
extra
good
one
medicine.
that day.
You know. Oh, your blood pressure's fine too, Charlie.
Yeah,
Well, that's good. Oh well.
Yeah, that's good that it's not the same day because those are both great events and
They are.
great to support.
That they are,
churches.
and we're very fortunate to have good support. We usually sell out there, as you guys do too, and that's good. So Sunday, if you don't feel like cooking, come to Charlotte and
We will feed you.
Have barbecue in the winter, which is always
exactly
always a treat,
at Polar
right?
Bear.
It
You
is.
bet, no doubt about it at all. And then the next Sunday is Super Bowl. So, boy, they've been fun, haven't they?
Oh, it's been a great year.
I think the next Saturday is the wine walk, right?
I think you're
Rosebud?
right. Yes,
The wine walk in Rosebud.
in Rosebud.
You guys are doing
Lots
it,
of-
right?
Yeah,
We are.
Yeah.
Yep.
we are. I knew
Well,
that.
you're not. We are.
Well, I'll let Shannon because I see her walking in Rosebud every day.
With my dogs.
Yep.
Exactly.
I do a dog walk, not a wine walk.
Is that what it is?
The wine follows the dog walk. Let's just put it that way.
You got them dogs
Two,
and the
I know.
wine. It's
Need one of them little hats.
That'll be my retirement. I retire, I'll have the wine on my head. I look bad enough, believe me. I know people go by and go, wow. I don't care. It's cold out. When it's cold, I just go.
Bundle up. Yep.
Bundle up and go.
it's a great burg. There's no question, and we all love it as well as Doctor. It is so encouraging to grow up in an area. You know what I'm saying, and see people starting to get the culture and the lifestyle. That has allowed these things to flourish, and the people at Lynn are just as excited. You know what I'm saying about the opportunities that there and the people that are there and what the community is gaining. I mean, there's losses. Some people, you know what I'm saying.
Sure,
I mean,
we have a little
some people don't
little
want to
traffic
change.
We got a little
issue,
traffic,
little
but that's going to get fixed.
Yeah, MoDOT's going to fix that in 2024. They've got a plan for a couple of stoplights there and turn lanes, so that'll
Look at
that'll
that.
take care of that.
Stoplights in Lynn.
A stoplight in Lynn.
Two
Two.
stoplights. in Lynn.
Two.
Tom Lerner said, you know Tom, don't you? He
Uh-huh.
was a representative from Osage, and Tom Lerner said, they changed redistricting, and he said, and they had the stoplight at 28 at Walmart,
Right.
28 and 19, and he said, I got that area, and it's the only stoplight in my entire district. So it's rural
Right?
when
Right?
there is no stoplights.
Right? It's going to be great, though. It's going to be.
Oh, it will
It's
be.
going to
It'll
make
help
a
that out.
huge difference.
Yeah.
And that is a huge complaint. I mean,
For anybody, for
For-
locals, for whoever.
Sure.
Although I still like going through there and watching the people.
Yeah.
They walk a lot too.
they do.
You know.
Because the traffic.
Wasn't there used to a sign there that said the Lynn Walk?
Yeah, Lynn,
What?
walking through.
Walking into the future.
Walking into the future.
That is blown over or blown off, but we are actually we're partnering with the city of Lynn for a new sign that says "Proud Home of State Tech." So that is
Yeah,
under
it's-
construction now.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Another one of your $40 million building, part of your building vision,
Yes.
No.
No.
And it is. What a pleasure it is, always. Dr. Strong, I appreciate you. I appreciate what you do. Shannon, it's good to see you
Good to see you.
always, and you know, bring him up some weekend. You know.
I know.
I know, but
he's always got stuff going.
I know he does,
Busy
but
guy.
we're here for him if ever. You know, good to be around you. I appreciate you. Appreciate what you're doing. A great future. You know, we look at the news a lot of time. Get away from that.
Yeah.
And look at somebody and think about, you know, people that are doing the right thing for the right reasons.
Yep.
It goes a long, long way.
Yep.
You know. Bless you guys. Good to have you. Enjoy the rest of the day. You know, and we'll be in touch. Okay.
All right.
Absolutely.
And thank you all for being with us today. And God bless you. And next week, who we have next week?
We'll have somebody. Maybe Greg Ahold.
Okay,
Possibly Greg
we'll be. I know that we've got numerous things coming. We're going to talk to Ms. Jenkins soon, superintendent at Japan School and Education, and I know that we got to talk about the Quail Forever, you know, coming up, and someone else Bonnie Preggy from MRPC. Those are all people on our list that we're going to have here in the next month or so, right?
Yep.
Good to have you.
Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you.
Good to have you. We'll see you next week, God willing. And don't forget about barbecue Sunday.
One-day contract so he can retire as a Patriot.